Kirk Clyatt is a radio reporter. He does radio news that you can hear in Australia on 3AW and 6PR. He does a lot of work in the United States and, in fact, joins us now from Las Vegas. Kirk, thank you for talking to us. It's a couple of hours on, but other locals are very open about that. The sense of chaos still continues, even though the danger has passed.
Yeah, it really is. It's just a tragic situation. Clearly the worst night in Las Vegas history. It's 4:21 in the morning here, and they've already opened a couple of blood banks early because there is a need for blood because it's so many wounded. Every medical personnel in southern Nevada is on the job trying to tend to the dead and to the injured that we have this morning. It's really a state of shock is the only way to put it. Many people cannot get back to their hotels, and I believe we have 6 of the world's 10 largest hotels right in that area there on the Strip. So there are many thousands of people that can't get back to their hotels, even though the danger has passed. They've still got much of the Strip, in fact, almost all of the Strip on lockdown. So they've opened the University of Nevada at Las Vegas' Thomas and Mack Center. Almost the only way you could almost describe it as is the same way you'd have if you had a severe weather event and you had people that needed to evacuate their homes. They're providing them shelter. They're providing them comfort. There, it's right off the Strip, probably less than a mile away. We even, of course, had McCarran Airport. I'm going to try to do some checking, and it should be, if not now, shortly reopening. They had all departures canceled. They had the incoming flights. And, of course, we're the 9th largest airport in the United States, so all the incoming flights, they had to be diverted to other locations. And this death toll, I've been following the story all night long, started, of course, at 2, went to 20. Now it's gone to 50. It is the largest mass shooting in the United States history. The man who did this did not fit the profile. And I can tell you from working on the Strip, I've had a chance to work at a Strip hotel, so I'm intimately familiar with where this took place. Folks that are 64 years old and white males are not targeted by security. So that is one of the reasons he probably could get these automatic weapons up into his hotel room at Mandalay Bay up on the 32nd floor. It took Metro, the SWAT team, Metro is our police here in Las Vegas, only about 10 to 15 minutes to get to the room to get Stephen Paddock because they do practice for these events. And I think they did an amazing job triangulating where the shots were coming from. We don't have a whole lot of information about him, except that he was 64 years old and lived in Mesquite. Mesquite is a community about 75 miles to the north on Interstate 15. It's right on the Nevada-Utah state line, and he lived in a retirement community. So you know right now they're going through his phones, they're visiting with his neighbors. They are going to try to find out everything about this man and why he did it, because how he did it, we now know that. The question is why he did it. At least one Metro police officer is confirmed dead by Chief Lombardo, Sheriff Lombardo here in Las Vegas, and there are a couple of others that have been injured. One of the ones who was killed, the officer, he was actually attending this concert. Jason Aldean, who was performing, he's, of course, just in a state of shock. And when you hear what happened, you hear the band playing, and then you hear what could have been fireworks. Some people thought it was. It took about 10, 12 seconds for the band to stop to realize what was going on. And you could hear a gap of about maybe 20 to 30 seconds between these intense fire rounds of ammunition being fired, these intense rounds of bullets being fired into this crowd. And it was a fairly long distance away because the event center, outdoor event center, is between, on the south end of the Strip, between the Luxor and Mandalay Bay, but it is across Las Vegas Boulevard. So he was shooting down and across the Strip to get to these folks. And some folks, they had to get out any way they could. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. And, of course, you have bottlenecks at the gates. That's why he was able to get so many victims. And when people did get out, they just ran and ran. It's right next to the airport, which is why the airport had to be shut down. I think that was an excellent decision. I live near the approach path, and it's eerily quiet. The only thing that I can even think of that is like this, because we have practically a 24-hour stream of aircraft coming in, is after 9/11. So we had people that were able to actually get on the tarmac. You have helicopter tour operators right there that take the Grand Canyon tours and the Strip tours. So there's plenty of access to aircraft. So it was just an incredible, nightmarish scene. And it does continue through this morning. They've reopened Interstate 15, but they still have the exits to the Strip closed down. And it is going to be a long time before this city recovers. The schools, though, today, they are going to be open, but of course, they're going to have crisis counselors in place at Clark County Schools. So a devastating Monday, the worst night in the history of Las Vegas. And you've got to remember, we have between 40 and 50 million people coming into our city every year. And how this is going to impact that? Well, there's just so many unanswered questions we have after what this man, this Stephen Paddock, did. And it'll be interesting to see the details on what would motivate a man to do such horror.
And Kirk, as you know, Australia is endlessly fascinated and flummoxed by the gun culture of the United States, the availability of guns. Nevada is an open carry state. However, the idea of being able to take a gun into a hotel, obviously this person took the largest ones possible and multiples of them. Is this a process where the big hotels, as you say, some of the biggest in the world, even though the state has open carry, the casino and hotel has a different attitude to guns? Or is it highly conceivable that somebody can have a gun in their luggage, the luggage goes unchecked as you put it on the bellboy, you go upstairs and it's dragged into your room?
Absolutely, that could happen, especially when you have someone who's a 64-year-old white male. You have these hotels are luxury hotels. They're incredible places to stay. So it would not be at all not unusual to have someone have 4 or 5 pieces of large luggage. And you stay up on the 32nd floor. These are starting to get to some of the high-priced floors. And he clearly picked where he wanted to be so he would have the prime angle to shoot at these victims across Las Vegas Boulevard. But there is no check on luggage when you go into the hotels. There is in Europe in some places. And in fact, what they do have, though, once you get into the evening, starting maybe 8, 9, 10 o'clock, depending on the property, you would have a security person at the entrance to the elevators. And unless you're with a guest of the hotel or you have a room key, they're not going to let you up into the rooms. But as far as security, like you'd have at the airport when you check in, when you check your luggage, that is something that we certainly don't have. And the question is, for an open, wild, exciting city like Las Vegas, how much security is enough and how much security is too much? Those are going to be some questions that have to be answered. And I worked on the Strip all last winter, and I used to think about these things because there are so many sight angles. There are so many places where there are hundreds, and in this case, thousands of people that were in one place. And I used to wonder, I said, could something like this happen? And unfortunately, tonight we found out the answer is yes. And what happens from here? Well, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see, and time will tell. But unfortunately, it'll be interesting to see. Right now, I don't feel it in place, the political will, even with this kind of shooting, to make major changes. If it didn't happen after Newtown, chances are it won't now, as, of course, you guys made the big changes back in 1996. But you never know because of the publicity and the way that I'm talking to you halfway around the world. And, of course, this is the major story for today and probably for days to come throughout the entire world.
Kirk, Chris Kenny here with Paul Murray on Sky News. You quite rightly mentioned earlier the big question is why at the moment, not just how, but why. Is there anything you can tell us about this concert? It's a country music concert. Was there any political messaging around it? Was there any branding around it that might have made it attractive for any sort of politically motive attack, or are we completely clueless at this stage?
This is just a wholesome Middle America event. In fact, I had audio from one of the witnesses that was just very, very dramatic, talking about when she got to her car, she was running and she got back to her car and there were people hiding under her car to try to get away from the bullets. So this is nothing like a rap festival where there would be maybe a Black Lives Matter message, somebody out to, get that organization. This is just basically traditional all-American country music, the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival. Why this venue would be targeted? A white man shooting at, honestly, mostly white people in the crowd. I'm sure if you did a survey of those attending, I'm sure Donald Trump would have gotten most of their votes. So as far as a political angle to this shooting, right now it's hard to imagine, and that's what investigators are going to be looking at, and that is going to be the real focus, because once the SWAT team blew open that door, especially here in a place like Las Vegas, one thing you learn living here is you are happy to have and you trust Metro, but you do what they say. And I'm sure in this case, they didn't even try to apprehend him. They knew what was going on. And as soon as that door was open, he was gone. But clearly this man was prepared to die. But die why and for what? And after creating such carnage, those are the questions that we need answered.
Absolutely. Kirk, thank you so much. Kirk Clyatt there. He is on the Las Vegas Strip. He works there, he lives there, he knows it because it is his part of the world. He can be heard on 3AW and 6PR here in Australia and in the United States and USA Radio News. Thank you, sir. We'll leave you there, mate.